Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Sonko with my amazing co-host here, Ibrahim Abalde, and our newspaper review guest, Mamadou Mbouch.
Yes.
Thank you so much, gentlemen.
It's good to be here, Janaba. It's another Tuesday. We are back again. You know, with the energy about to roll.
Yes.
I wasn't feeling hockey.
Ba léegi wéruloo noonu sa because sa baat
waa léegi mu ngi mel ni fresh cool baa ngee dem.
mu ngee dem lan nga use la ban da nga use local remedy wala
non bu ma demee pepe soup laa lekka rek xam nga toppatoo pepe soup bu saf bu bari kaane xam nga rek
pepe soup bi la
gar mi yàppa la moo lekka de ñu ne gaynde bugut mbub yàppa lay dundee
yàppa jeex na tak man nag pepe soup bi ganaara ma gënal because ganaar nga mun a lekk and du la xam.
non bu nekkee
nga yàppa red meat bi baaxul.
non bu nekkee ganaari
di mën a joxe ay gout ay yooyu.
man I like pepper soup bu nekkee ganaari kir la. waaw waaye bu nekkee ganaari chicken la chicken legs chicken I don't like it.
waaye man you know I don't do ganaari kir and the suhi and everything that comes with it.
Well, I mean, well, that's it. If you have to eat ganaar, you need to do suhi. You need to do, yeah. I mean,
man ay suhi ay yooyu.
liggéey bu mu àndal pepper soup nga prefer.
bu jën
man am a fish person.
waaw fish moom neex na.
man fa laa am I can eat fish.
waaw xam nga man xale kombo la man lekk naa jën ba soona you know I've eaten too much.
man séeréer la ñun jën la ñuy dund ñun te géej gi lañ dëkk.
waaw it's healthier.
You don't talk to me about.
waaw jën baax na waaw jën baax na
baax ngeen because yàppa bi red meat bi shrimps bi yooyu it's not good. Too much. And then ganar mom you can eat it forever and then dula ham mom ganar has that thing and jentam is good but yapa be mom I'm not
man
sure.
I prefer
am nañu la dee wax ne mën ngaa lekk anything de waaye na balance
na em
in moderation.
waaw
in moderation and having a balanced diet. mën ngaa lekk sa yàpp mën ngaa lekk all of this waaye in moderation nga am balanced diet nga exercise
at the same time
you know stuff
exercise bi nag mooy affaire si
mooy foofu
exercise bi time amul nooy exercise ki nga xam ne sax amuloo time 1 hour free time.
Well, exercise, man, I'm getting tips from people who are saying you can even do it in your bedroom, things like that. I think we should bring back the keeping fit segment.
Yeah.
That
is very important.
Gis nga su ma ne dara necessity la.
Wow.
There is no such thing as time amut. I have to create time for it.
Wow.
Dafa mel ni su ñoo dem school study. Xam nga am na lu bari lu ma war a def maa suma paa koy. waaye lii necessity la. fu ma jaar ma create time for it. yaay decide lan important in your life.
Right.
Then nga organize everything around that.
loolu la.
waaw loolu tam mu that side.
waaw so moving on ñun war nañ fee am a food segment wala dara de am na solo ñun commencé nañ ko tey ba pare. So moving on, as usual we have the African proverb, we have the newspaper review. Our guest is already here, Mamadou Mbouch, to help us analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers. And on Community Watch, very exciting. Police officer launched a book titled 122 Things You Should Know About the Police in a Democratic Dispensation. We'll be joined by Inspector Amadou Sijalo, who is the author of the book, and we covered this particular story, and we saw how the Deputy Inspector General of Police really embraced the entire launching and call it a win for the Gambia Police Force. So we'll be joined by Inspector Amadou Sijalo to talk to us about what motivated him to go ahead and write this, and what more should we know about police in a democratic dispensation. This conversation started last week, so when Inspector comes, then we will get to continue with. And on social issues, we'll be talking about TB, tuberculosis. We'll be having a tuberculosis awareness campaign in this program here. I think there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to tuberculosis, knowing the disease, the causes, you know, the prevention and all of that. So we'll be joined by officials from the MRC to help us understand all of these. And moving on, we will also have the click segment, and Skengman Sweezy will be here to take us through what is happening in the world of entertainment. Today, I'm aware that we'll be having Soldier Pop.
Mr. Feeling.
Kese.
Yeah, Feeling Kese.
Wow.
You know.
He'll join us.
Very interesting person.
Yes, looking forward. And don't forget, One Stop Water Solution is part of our sponsors for all your dispensers, tanks, you name them, just anything you need to ensure that your water is purified. Head right onto One Stop Water Solution and get all of these needs. So moving on, what is our African proverb this morning?
Let's keep rolling. Before you marry a widow, you must first find out what killed the husband. Before marrying a widow, you should first find out what killed the husband. don't let the mistake repeat itself. It's important.
Man, okay, Mr. Mbodj, what do you make of this? Man, dama reserve agum because xam nga lu tax suma waxee rek dañoo ne dafa am xaat bu mu sol.
Waaw man.
So dama reserve agum suma comment for now ma allow la nga wax ba pare.
Man, I did a slight joke on it. So the man, not what killed the husband, but who killed the husband.
Why, Mr. Mbodj? So what here, Lulu? Mr. Mbodj, so what here, Lulu? Mungi melni yage ubi ay bankas yu bari fi. And this is gonna prolong this conversation.
Why not prolong? Why not jeex?
No, that was just sort of a bit of jest. Obviously, before you get into anything, find out, think about it first. Telling the evidence-based decision-making. Essentially, this is really what we are talking about.
Right.
So, balanga duga ci dara. Xoolal bu baax. You know? Naka la things demee nii first, then ma xam naka lay make my steps forward. Before ma muna dem forward, fu ma jaar ma look back, ma reflect, xala am some understanding, then ma soga muna dem forward. I think essentially that's what it is. Hanga these proverbs, they can be interpreted in so many different ways, you know what I mean? Limited only by our imagination, as it were. So this is how I see it.
Man like my proverb because of Numel.
Why? About the widow and the husband. Who killed the husband?
Wow, who killed the husband? Mr. Ade, you know, is a strong critique of some of these proverbs as to their structure. You know, I do not like the structure of it. Before you marry a widow, you must first find out what killed the husband. Fine. It means that. But liguma, the words, liguma, the choice of words and the way ninko structure, I do not like it. It further shows patriarchy. It further shows ne jigen su say am tase. Sometimes they muna jin ne okay. I'm not losing jigen that say am loho. Understand nga lu ma jigéen bi daf si am loxo wala ñuy wax naan he sey na fi jëkkëram deena de seetaat leen ko bu baax. You know.
Okay.
So man neexuma comme ni structure proverbe I don't like it.
Gis naa jigéen boo xam ne.
Waaw.
dafa sey force jëkkër bi dee. mu amaat jëkkër bu dee up to 3.
xam nga kooku dañ koo jiiñ lu nekk.
ñetti jëkkër ñoo dee.
kooku lu nekk lañ koo jiiñ.
léegi
This is not funny.
Society. Who ñëw pour takka ko dañ dee ne.
soo ko takkee.
dañoo ne soo ko takkee da ngaa dee.
Look at that.
You know, so now she's sitting like that.
dafa toog.
Mang laa woon how society think.
Exactly.
Okay. Di nga gis life yi doomi Adama nekkul si loxo kenn.
nekkul si loxo kenn.
Understand nga. So loolu I believe la rek.
waaw waaye proverbe bi tey ku ko seet sa xel comme Mr. Mbodj xelam si lu mu njëkk a dem mooy who killed the husband. Understand nga husband bi.
non loolu Mr. Mbodj moom from the point of view bu mu nekk di waxee.
waaw
mooy ñi nga xam ne dañ conspire ñu rey.
waaw
am na yenn jigéen yi nga xam ne.
waaw
dañoo conspire.
waaw waaye man si man proverbe bi mënoon nañ koo structure in another way boo xam ne it wouldn't show ne there's a widow there's a husband that died and dañ war a seet widow bi force balaa nga mën a dugg si dara.
Let's calm down. We shouldn't be too literal minded.
True.
All of these proverbs, whatever we say, they emerge out of specific social circumstances. Right. Yes? So we understand the social circumstances. And I understand the background, the patriarchy, as you call it.
Yes.
One understands all of that. Yes? Why? So you interpret these things, mënuñoo jël tey ñun lanay suñ values naka la ñoo gisee dañu superimpose ko on ñële nuñ doon xalaatee. We have moved on a bit. Waaye yet li ñu wax ni proverbs yi am na deep profound lessons for us. So let us not be too literal minded about it. You understand?
loolu dëgg la waaye ba léegi structure bi tey boo ko wanee xale boo xam ne xëj na the IQ is not there nga ne ko nga jox ko li dana ko interprétal ma ko. They're going to interpret it in the literally form boy wax ni.
No, I'm not sure whether they will do that. Foog naa ne didn't understand its context. And the context more everything.
Right.
And then maybe they will laugh about it just as I did.
You did, yeah.
They might create humor around it while I'm now the serious stuff what they're trying to say exactly. Okay. And this man am na yena sexist wax bokkuma ci man nekkuma ci generation am na ñu bari really ñu mel ni man. Things have been moving on. Things will always move on in society. Maybe ñun ñoo dee xale yàkkamti o bëgg nañ mu dem in a certain direction boo xam ne demeewu ko waaye mun naa am na demeewu ko tey.
I think ne tam
ba léegi fii ku fi jëkkëram dee dañ dee jéem a
ba léegi bu nekkee ne ñun mënuñoo comme proverbe bi bu nekkee da nga ko xalaatee direct mun naa am nga mun a gis maybe vidéo bi ak yooyu noonu waaye dafa am proverbe yu bëri yi nga xam ne nekkut vidéo rek ak what killed the husband or xam nga di la fi waaye dafa am yu bëri yi nga xam ne tam comme nii la rek waaye in a different direction.
waaw waaye man
koo digeste
man the choice of words comme dafa normal we have the right even in literature you can criticize idea jàmbur or write up a jàmbur. It's not, we used to do that back in school. So for me, really, I just feel like, passing and fee, like Mr. Mbodj mentioned, and I do not like the choice of words, because in as much as passing and kotuti, it's still reflecting in our society. Dafa many tay widow, tay nit suy say jikaram de. In the next few months, mu say as a jigen, dañoo wax ne dafa teel a say de bëggutoon jikaram. Waaye góor jabaram su dee in 3 months war su takkee jabar is normal.
yaa ngeen passé nañ ko or passé wuñ ko man daal I'm trying to make a distinction here between a literalist interpretation of things and a more metaphorical.
True.
It takes a more literary mindset and you know how to interpret these things. ñu gis na ne in proverbs in literature da nga am metaphors parables xam nga people nit ñi dee waxee rek nga language moom dafa xóot.
Waaw dafa xóot.
So am nga different levels of discussing these things. So we shouldn't be, you know, sort of bogged down by the literalist meanings of these things. You get to the heart of it.
Déggin la,
then we move it. I like that.
Déggin la laajte.
Déggin la rek.
Waaw déggin la waaye nu mu bindoo tamit ba léegi. It's patriarchal.
Anyway. Waaw ñu
Sonko jëleen.
Waaw waaye African proverb bi moom dañoo waxtaan ba juboo rek te duñ juboo tam.
Waaw affaire si moom déggin la.
Waaw so we'll go for a short commercial break now after that and Mr. Mbodj yaa ngi smile de. And when we come back, we'll head right on to the newspaper.
Mr. Mbodj nu fi wax loolu moo ma
de loolu duñ ko fi wax.
Waaw ñu jël break.
Nañ jël suñ break buñ dellu see ñu dem seet lan la newspaper yi wax tey ñu dellu si waat léegi ni lu gaaw.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522-222, 353-2222.
Back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and now we're heading right on to the newspaper review. That's The Voice there, and I have the point here.
Yes. The Voice newspaper, Drug Law Enforcement Agency announces arresting 9 people for attacking its officers, and of course Honorable Hamad Bah warns against voting for independent candidates. Gambia Armed Forces hands over confiscated drugs to Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Residents of Jinak Island lack drinking water. Fetch water with donkey carts from Senegal. Oh my flick. Jinak Island. I love it. All
right, moving on. Mob attacks Drug Law Enforcement Agency or operatives, and also here, Pay Your Tax, Help Build a Nation by GRA. And moving on, we have the Brikama Area Council presents checks to Burfoot and Nema worth over $1.5 million. And also Gamtel warns against vandalizing its fiber optic cables, and 72% of compound owners do not pay rates. This is by Rohi Malik Low. I'm suspecting that this is during the Brikama Area Council EU funded town hall meeting, which is mandatory. So yes, that is what we have here on both the Point and the Voice.
And the Voice.
Oh, you have Forea too.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, it's more of a repetition.
Okay.
Let's our own Momodu, the guy that does the I don't know what's the name of the program again.
Kachadula?
No, not Kachadula.
Naka?
I'm forgetting. Sunyugale. I'm forgetting easily. He received an award. Taranga FM reporter receives an award.
Ah, okay. Hell.
Yes.
The Hell team.
So 2 candidates withdrew election bids for parliament. Smoking remains big public menace despite ban. Campaign for National Assembly gearing up. Well, this is what we have, Geneva, on the Forea.
Yes.
But I think we need to start with something very significant.
Okay, take us through.
That's the debate yesterday on QTV, the National Assembly debate.
All right.
We've seen Usman Silla, Honorable Usman Silla of PDOIS and Lamin Bah of UDP. They were here and the debate was hosted by Aliou Cisse,
right.
Our own Aliou Cisse. It was very interesting.
It was interesting.
Mr. Boyd, did you watch the debate yesterday?
Of course, we were here the whole time. They're all part of the team.
Yeah.
So yes, it was fantastic. They engaged with issues, and I liked both of them. They conducted themselves well. There were moments when sort of the temperature sort of seemed to be sort of rising, as it were, but everything was controlled. It was all decent. This is how it is. It should be. So let us be productively disagreeable.
Yes.
That's what it is. And I felt that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully more will come. There were others who chose not to come.
Yes.
That's their choice. But it's
that
important.
It's a party
this
policy.
is modern democracy, media age, everywhere you go. This is what people do. Even for God's sake, the Brits, they don't know this. This was really invented by the Americans.
Yeah.
The first presidential debate on TV was what, in 1960, I think, between President Kennedy and Richard Nixon. So then afterwards, everybody took on, even Britain now, they're doing it.
Yeah.
So over here as well, you know, the whole world, everybody does it. So it was a wonderful thing. So everybody should really participate. This is modern democracy in a media age.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, this should serve as a way that electorates can know who has what, you know, as to, because at the end of the day, Parliament is an area where you have to debate. So this is a chance to know how much your candidate can go for what they want.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is one of the channels.
Yes.
There are many different
others.
channels. But this one is part of it. Absolutely.
And it's 50%. The reason is because you're going to the Parliament to debate it out with issues, your understanding of things, your understanding of issues happening in your constituency, as well as laws that you want to work on. So I think viewers should stay tuned. It's every day, 9 p.m. here.
And I learned that we'll be having the reps for Serekunda West today.
Yes.
So they will be here.
Yeah, looking forward to that. You have 2 newspapers there. Any interesting headline?
Yes, let's take a look
Here,
at...
the mayor of Banjul is saying 72% of compound owners do not pay rates. That's what Rohit Malik Low is saying. So collecting revenue for councils seems to be a huge challenge, you know. It's not just with the Brikama Area Council, but this is also the same with, I'm not sure it's not the same percentage, but obviously in KMC as well, they do have difficulties in relation to collection of taxes, which these councils directly use to bring about development projects.
But this is Rohit Malik Low, that's Banjul, but you're referring to Brikama. I wonder what's the connection here.
No, I'm talking
is it
about
that all
Banjul.
of them...
No.
This is
Banjul.
Exactly.
Yes, this is 75% of compounds
in Banjul
do not pay their rates.
That's it.
Yes.
So, but I'm sure, should you come to KMC, they'll tell you a similar stuff.
There's an issue.
You go everywhere, they'll tell you a similar stuff. Go to GRA, they'll tell you a similar
so
stuff.
There should be an innovative way.
We know that, you know, our economy, most of our economy is really informal. We don't have the structures in place and all the rest of it. Here, most people who work do not really pay taxes.
Yeah.
When you look at our society generally, so you just have a few, and that's what I'm going to call it, because I understand that 68, maybe 70% of our economy is informal. So a lot of people do not pay taxes. So this is what we're trying to do. This is like a national, really, crusade, as it were. How can we expand the tax base, be it from that local level to a national level? So we know that. Now, what I want to hear is, what are we going to do about it?
That's the question.
Most things we know in many ways. So what are we going to do about it? What can I introduce so that next time, in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever, then I can improve that. It's only gradual improvement that we can do. That radical change overnight is never going to happen. So what are we going to do? That next time I will come and tell you maybe 65% of people do not pay their rates. Right. But we've improved from 75.
Going down. So yes.
Well, it's important for you to pay your rates, but I mean the manner of which you will have to pay your rate to counts. You understand? There should be a proper system, Mr. Mbodj. Don't you think there should be a proper system whereby people will be able to go and pay, and at the same time this system will be able to be accounted for? I mean, you cannot just tell me to come and pay my rate, and I just go pay, or you come to my home and collect the rates. I think there should be a system, you know.
Of course. We all make our choices within a certain context. It depends on what is around. So if I do not have the structures in place, then possibly I wouldn't pay. Then you will get away with all sorts of things. So here it always takes two to tango.
Yeah.
My individual choice depends on the institutional structures out there. Right. So it takes two. Yes, I must take my responsibilities and know that I have to pay my taxes and all the rest of it. But again, the authorities, people in charge of the institutional structures, make it in such a way that it will be easier for me to come and do so. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's something they call commitment devices. That means having structures such that it makes it easier for me to do the right thing and more difficult for me to do the wrong thing. So that's what we want our institutional structures to be. So we will meet each other halfway, as it were.
It's almost time.
But there's something on Gambia Participates there. What's that?
Men are giving more leadership roles in the office than women.
Okay, I think that is something that we've discussed. There's no need to go back to it.
Honorable Hamad Bah once again voting for independent candidates, men.
Yeah, so independent candidates.
But why? What is his reason for saying that?
Well, I think this is the tool that they will use, I mean, to damage the independent candidates, I mean, for people to have the trust in them and vote for their candidates.
It's a very lame tool. If that is true, then it is a very lame tool. What can I say about independent candidates that runs through all of them, apart from the fact that they're just not part of a political party? It's not a sound argument.
And you know what's
I have to listen to the independent candidate and hear what you're going to tell me.
And you know what's funny? He's saying this, but ironically, there are Gambians who believe that they will even give their vote to independent candidates because they have no specific agenda, party agenda that they're pushing for. Like these are fresh individual, independent, not fighting for anything specific coming out from party level. Like for instance, if there's a constitution or something new or a bill that they're supposed to pass, obviously most of these individuals get to vote based on party lines, but an individual who's independent might not depend on something specific to vote on.
Yes, at least you do not have that party political element.
Exactly.
Granted.
Yeah.
But they have their own political leanings.
At the end of the day.
We all have our political leanings.
Which is fixed, yeah.
So for me, I probably wouldn't spend much time on that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Because it is based on very flimsy, to my mind, reasoning. Independent candidates, they are not all alike. And even the electorate, they do not believe that. In 2017, for instance, was it Magasi, Basse, independent, and independents, they do win. So it is not about independent candidates putting them, lumping them together. Let's just make individual distinctions. A Jaina Basonko could be different from an Ibrahim Abari, who would also be different from Mamadou Mbodj.
The argument that I just gave, that some Gambians feel can be invalid even in some instances, because the moment these individuals get to win, they also join a party.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they also
I just want you to be honest with your politics and your ideology. Just be honest with the principles and the ideas.
Yeah.
I can go in as an independent, but gradually I feel that, I'm more akin, I have an affiliation with this particular party more than the other. Yeah. So I can join that. So let's just be honest in our politics. That's all. That matters.
I'm not sure about, but that's a conversation for another day.
But let's try not to be cynical.
Yes, we shouldn't.
If we're going to be cynical, let's forget about politics.
But at the end of the time,
let's just forget about all of these things we're doing.
At the end of the time, the politicians must talk like this. They must use these words.
I'm not sure about that. You don't have to. Maybe they may think that they must use that. That's their choice. But you don't have to. There's nothing set in stone. It just depends on how you do it, what imagination you have, how you can appeal to the general sentiment, to the people. It just depends on what you can do. There's nothing set in stone. You can reinvent politics so that it can become honest. I am never going to be cynical. If I'm going to be cynical, I might as well go and chew a bullet.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Mbodj, on this platform. Do not chew bullet on this platform, please.
Your platform, I'm going to a gun. We don't have a gun on this platform.
Go to Fajara Barracks and chew a bullet or something, but not on this platform.
Anyway, thank you so much. So, can boom for cynical. Let's just, leave it as it is.
I lose hope. Cynical. No, the same.
No.
That's what cynicism is. This is what he was saying.
Sometimes, mom, I don't think that way, but sometimes they're pushed to the wall. Then they feel and if they happen, it happens.
That's some disappointment. Put in context.
True.
Yes, I've been disappointed.
Why yet the way forward?
There is hope. There is a window open.
Wow.
Can you change things? Otherwise, the matter talk already change.
Wow. You go chew a bullet.
It's defeatist. Cynicism is defeatist. I don't do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mbodj, for joining us on the program. It's always good to have you here.
I love being here.
I know. So moving on, we will now go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, Mr. Mbodj, isn't it interesting? A police officer launched a book titled 122 Things You Should Know About the Police in a Democratic Dispensation. Is this something you're looking forward to reading?
Fantastic,
fantastic. It will be very interesting because there are a lot of things that we
and the Deputy Inspector General of Police talks about something very interesting. The fact that now the police are taking a step to get a bachelor's degree, to get even a master's. At least that mindset of a police is supposed to be a dropout is changing gradually in the Gambia.
Absolutely, and it's very healthy for that to be happening.
Yeah.
So fantastic idea, the book, a guidebook for everybody to know. We are in a transitional phase.
Right.
These are the sorts of inputs that we need to help to just fuel it along. Fantastic idea.
All right, so after this break, we'll be joined by Inspector Amadou C. Jallow, the author of the book, and he will take us through the 122 things we can't discuss here, but at least, he'll just give us Abdou C. Jallow, Inspector Abdou C. Jallow rather, and I'm 100% sure we can't talk about the 122 things here, but we just want to understand his motivation and if this is a career path that he wishes to take. We'll be right back.
ila nyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senango adabe hadama dungula baluwole kono annun hadama dung ka fengo fengo dundi akono kono ayanda ke ku senango ayake kuti mi yalo ko ata hadama dung mantora madungul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne Gambia banko kan andun ye fitarole natal me yalo ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senango natale Gambia banko kan jio mi yalo ko atal mantora la annun jio diata ba one stop water solutions limited ye fitarole natal me yalo ko alse muna fanganola alla pompol isala jiol tenten ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natale 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotale filter mi yalo ko asidiyota aya tenten natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalo ko asidiyota aya dada aya senendi mensebeta alla jata kendato o fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalo ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mensebeta alla jata kendeya filter member ko CTO block carbon mensi jiola chemical o be bondi akono pour alla jata kendeya sa hen nim filter sabol be kiliwo kilina pansundoku na wata tankol fana sotale kabrim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fana be mol bulle alsimol tarano sukuta highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8270 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende Gambia banko.
What is at stake in this National Assembly election?
What are the local issues of the constituencies?
What do citizens expect of their parliamentarians?
QTV is the platform to answer these and many more questions.
From March 21st, QTV will bring you live daily debates between candidates across the country.
To gain an insight into your candidates program, tune in at 9 p.m. on QTV.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So I said it's 122 things, but no, it's 121 things. I do not want to add one there. You know, I do not have the mandate or the authority to add another one. So it's 121 things you should know about the police force in a democratic dispensation. And this is by Inspector Amadou C. Jallow. Abdou C. Jallow, thank you so much for joining us, Abdou C. Jallow. It seems, why Amadou, Abdou, sorry, one day, would they, wala?
Du bena de.
Du bena.
Ken bum mana. Du bena.
Du bena.
Xam nga noy xamé du bena.
Waaw.
So waré dem jëli sa visa bi.
Mbadu time jëli visa.
Time jëli visa.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Abdou C. Jallow, for coming here, for being able to make it here. So first of all, I want to know, before we delve into this 121 things, I want to know what motivated you to write this particular book. Is it because you saw that there's some form of misunderstanding when it comes to the work of the Gambia Police Force, or what is the reason?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And as we serving in the force, I of course have to thank the Inspector General of Police and his management team for creating the environment that enables the younger generation to do work like this, plus the Commissioner of Mobile Traffic Lamin Kinkoli, and as well the PRO who cleared me to be here today. Anyway, I was motivated to come up with this book because I was a cadet officer and I rotated for almost 4 years in different units. We have many units in the police force. And then the challenges that the people face on a daily basis, like for instance in the traffic, you can get somebody for an offense and then you will ask him, let's get to the office for further action, and then he will say, la la def. They just hold it as a legal thing, or you just want to follow them based on no reason. So in the CID as well, you call somebody, let's say on an investigation or printout, you call somebody, he will tell you, no, I can't come, or I'm not there to come, why are you calling me?
Yes.
So in many units, those are the challenges that the people face from the police, and it was supposed to be easy because we are serving the people. We are mandated to serve the people, and then when we call you, you should be able to come and answer. If we do not tell you, then we'll show you something.
Okay, but Inspector Jallow, don't you think it's because of conduct and approach? You know, because for Gambians, they feel that police officers sometimes, their conduct and their approach towards individuals pushes them to behave that way. I can remember we featured Malang. Can you remember Malang? Down there.
I can remember.
Malang
at Busumba, Yundum, yes.
Yundum. Malang, according to Gambians, you know, he is one individual, Bohamne. So la approach is adang de rus. Sulane won dawal be phone sa dinga daw because of the approach and the way just he comports himself. So do you think the police also need to adjust in that area to ensure that the citizens are willing?
Professionalism.
Well, I can say we are professionals because the training we have a lot of trainings to be professional. So I will not go much into that. But what I can say, Malang is my class. So the way and manner in which Malang comport himself, definitely even the command appreciated. We all appreciated of the same class we train together. So, but you know, as it continue to be, we will still continue to be professionals and then go together as we are not in the same level. So we need to take each other and then move forward as one force that is purposely meant to serve the people, not to do anything but mandated by the constitution to serve the people.
Well, when you talk about the Gambia Police Force, especially the traffic police, I mean, you've mentioned a whole lot of stuff in this book. I've seen how to become a police, a whole lot of things in this book. People associate corruption to the police a lot. They said most police are very, very corrupt. And do you believe that?
Well, me, I cannot believe.
And how can you defend yourself?
I cannot believe that. If that is to be defended, then I think my boss PRO have to, talk about the general police. For me, I'm only here to talk about this piece of document.
The book, but I
the
mean,
document, the document.
Yes, all that I want to know. Why didn't you put that here? Allegations about corruption.
No, those are in a bigger context that it do not suit me as a police inspector. I'm not mandated to talk about things that go in the general police.
But Mr. Jallo, you are mandated to talk about certain things here that are also sensitive that people are supposed to know.
No, I didn't believe in
I think your
what
book
people are saying
about
the corruption in the police. I didn't believe me. What I believe in is to go do the work, serve the people, then close by for, and then get home and then relax with your family. So if there's anything you want to be clarified about it, maybe my boss can come and then talk more about that.
Have you ever received a complaint about a police being corrupt?
No. Only complaint I received is he assaulted me, or he took my this, or he, those are the complaints that I'm mandated to receive, not that he took this or he do that.
Yeah, so part of the 121 things that you talked about in the book has to do with if a police officer has the mandate to revoke your license.
Yeah.
So take us through that, because it's, these are problems that we see on the highway on a daily basis.
Yeah, that one also, I will just talk brief about it. When you say revoke, it have to come from you, the guy that was issued with the license, due to the way and manner in which you behave. If you are not fit in the society, you will be taken to a rehabilitation center. And if you are not fit to hold that license, it's a document given by the state for you to drive on the road peacefully with other road users. So if your behaviors by law, by the magistrate, it does not contradict anything, then it have to be revoked. Revoke means they have to take it to say, Jay, we gave you this for these 12 months, you are not fit to go with it, and then you can bring it, put it here, and then we check whether you will rehabilitate yourself or change for another time.
Okay. So I don't know, part of the things that you talked about, is there anything that has to do with maybe testing individuals? Because revoking somebody's license is one thing, which is given by authority, but also making sure that the individual is tested to make sure the person is up for the task. Is that something that you also delved into? Because it has to be a two-way thing.
Testing drivers is being done every day. The testing officer will do his testing, and the police also will continue to test you and the vehicle on the road frequently. To check on the vehicle. If it is not roadworthy, then you will be taken and then you will go and repair it and then be fit on the road and then you fly again. That's why you are given that disc when you are tested. And the license also will be tested. When you commit certain offenses, then you will be taken again to be tested at the police garage.
Yeah, so but Mr. Jallo, can I tell you that with authority that the testing is not happening as you're telling me? Can I tell you that?
But you cannot be like a British testing.
I'm not saying it should be a British testing.
But in African testing, of course there's testing. If you go to police garage, you have to go to the right place where people have been tested. If you get to police garage, both the two angles, you will see the signboards being printed there for drivers to be taught different medical, you name them. If you want, go there and then you will meet it there.
Where is the police garage?
It's along the Sangum Sila Road.
Okay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So moving
You've
on.
mentioned something very important in this book. I mean, women in the Gambia Police Force. Jay is a very big advocate for women's rights. And of course, I know she will love this. I can see they have a women wing in the Gambia Police Force. When it comes to promotions, when it comes to giving women their right in the Gambia Police Force, does it happen like any other sector? Because we've received a whole lot of complaints from women that, I mean, there are sectors that don't advocate for the rights of women?
Well, for what I can talk about women, maybe it will not be my mandate to talk about the women in the force and how they are taken, but with the little of this book to say, we train with women. In every batch you will have women. Because of in the police work, women are very important. Because me, I cannot search a female detainee. And I cannot escort a female detainee. All I can do is to work with the male. Female police officers are there to work with the female detainees onto any level. And they have female network that was created in 2017 by Commissioner Lala Kamara of Banjul. So they are doing, the command is doing a lot of things for the women. There are a lot of projects they're doing for the women. And as well as we all have the same equal opportunity. And we are all treated fairly.
But Mr. Jala, just to tell you that because you have gone to the extent of writing a book, we have to ask, you know, because these are things that you've mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
So we have to ask you some of these things, you know, because we want to know. You know, it's 121 things that the public should know about. And these are things that you mentioned. So it's an opportunity because you are here. We can further ask. But when we ask and you tell us it's not your mandate,
no.
I'm afraid we might not bring out the juice.
No. Meaning to go in detail of the women that work in the police.
Right, right.
But in the book here, what I can little mention there is they have a female network and they are given the opportunity and men are given and they do the work that they are supposed to do, that is to work with the female detainees and then yeah. So you also, one part of the 121 things that you mentioned has to do with people attaching banners on their cars or tinted and all of that people need to know about. So what does the police force say about that? Yeah, that if you put banners, some people like they want to copy the other style of the people in neighboring Senegal or whatever. You take the Serin Touba pictures, Baifal and whatever you name it. Yeah, but the disclaimer, let's just say any kind of picture, but we are not saying Baifal any or banner. Any banner. They do picture. Put banners. It's not specific to any sect. Because the windscreen, you are given the windscreen to have the vision to see in front of you. So when you want to put those banners there of any choice, if you put the banner there, it might cause obstruction. Your view ahead will not be clear. And if it is not clear, anything can happen. So it's against the law. It's not part of the requirement of the vehicle to put those banners on the windscreen and then, for decoration. You ask them, they say it's for decoration, it's my artist, it's my musician, or it's my marabu or whatever. But those ones are not meant to be in the windscreen. It's very, very small. It's only for you to have a sight of what is happening in front. You don't need to put banners on your windscreen. Definitely. So another thing is, can a police refuse to file a complaint of an individual? Yeah, some other people will just want to engage the police to say that it's my right, here is the police station, I have right to go there, lodge my complaint. But some people, the way and manner in which they are or what they are complaining might not be genuine to remove 2-3 police officers just to put them on the street to be roaming unnecessarily or things like. Okay, interesting. All right, and also, what are the different ranks in the police? It's important that people know. Well, sometimes, madega ASP, madega inspector, and then I hear this. I want to know. I might decide to go into the police. You have the commander as well? Yeah. So what are the several ranks? Yeah, like you start from a recruit. That is no rank. Yeah, from there you go to PC. That empty black with the number, GPF with the number. Okay. And then from there you have the 1V, that is the first class. You have the 2V, that is the couple, and 3V, that is the sergeant. And then you have the 1, that is SI, and then before the SI, after the 3V sergeant, you have the white one, that is the cadet. Okay. Bijawos. Okay. Then you have the 1, that is SI, then you have this 2. Okay. That will be the inspector. Oh, this is inspector. Yeah, this inspector. This is how it looks. Yeah. Okay. This inspector. Then that's how we when you have the 3, then that is chief. That is chief. Yeah. Then from chief you will go to the cadet ASP, then to ASP, then to DSP, then to superintendent, then chief superintendent, then from chief superintendent to assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner. Then you get the commissioner. So, is it possible for you to move from here and go straight without going to all these, is it commissioner or deputy commissioner? Yeah, maybe. Is it possible? Maybe if I told you it was my country in Uganda, yeah, they can move me to any other rank because of General Museveni. But in accordance with it, yeah, we have to follow. So here you have to pass through all these things. Yeah, I have to pass through all these stages bit by bit, and then I'm still young to go. I'm not old. I'm not in a haste to get there. Yeah, yeah. But you have to try and get there at this. Of course, I will get there. I will get there one day. Inshallah, and I'm wishing you all the best. Let's talk about community policing. You've also mentioned it here. Many people think you need to leave your job with the police. The police are supposed to do everything. I think it's important
for us to advocate for community policing.
Of course, community policing, the command, particularly the Inspector General of Police, Abulai Sanyang, and his management team, they are definitely doing well for with the young officers and even for the community policing, because the community that arranged the community, even not long ago, they have engaged the communities in how to report crimes, how to settle disputes, so on and so forth. So they're doing a lot about it. And even this, I think they will implicate something about it, then to discuss with the people in the community, at least to know what to do and what not to do and what to report to the police and then so on and so forth.
Okay, so finally, can a traffic police officer arrest a Gambian in an offense that is not a traffic offense?
Yeah, those are challenges that people do face, because you will see other people will be fighting, like in Westfield, with people fighting as a traffic officer. If you tell them you're on the arrest, they will say, "Demanga topa moto." I don't know when I understand.
Wow.
They don't know that police officer, you are mandated to do all jobs.
Okay.
It's the unit that differ people. You can be in this unit today, tomorrow in the other unit, then day after tomorrow in the other unit. But your function is to protect life and property.
Okay.
So some drivers or people who fight, when you want to arrest them for fighting or afraid or whatever, they will say, "Demanga topa moto." Or you see somebody in other unit want to ask for paper, and the law is telling you even a badge messenger can request for your papers from the driver if you commit offense. A badge messenger, say for the police. You know badge messenger?
Yes, I know.
Law cater them that if they meet you as a driver, you do wrong, they have the mandate to ask for the paper and take you to the nearest traffic officer for the action.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so I think this is interesting.
Yes, and we are happy that, I mean, our personnel from the Gambia Police Force, at least they are doing such a thing.
At least we
know. At least now we know where our police is heading to, where the direction is heading to. So, congratulations, and thank you very much for doing this. Make sure you teach people, you know, what is in this book. Don't just write the book and keep it.
We are working on it, and then it will go
Where
far.
can we get it?
Yeah, at Fuladu, for the first time, we just want to put it at Fuladu Printers at along MDI Road. It's the publisher.
Yeah, I think this is something that I'll go through completely, just so I won't have any issues with any police officer, because I will know where my right begins, where my responsibilities starts, and all of that, and where my rights.
Definitely.
Obviously.
I think,
So thank you so much, Mr. Abdusi Jallo, Inspector. Let me add that. Thank you so much. Looking forward to more books. You know, don't stop here. You can continue, just so we have a clear understanding. So ko gisee si ko yoon bi nak muy li bu ko balal de.
No man xam
nga balal taxawal ko jëlal ma lay
I have a good relation with most of the police. Why dama len de rus. So mota duma de buga break any rule. Because xam nga ki nga xam ne respect na la fokk nga respect ko. So dama
No, traffic laws are things that when people comply with them, it goes very easy. But people don't know, and you cannot blame them for not knowing maybe the past. You understand?
Yes.
So we're trying to regulate those things as the younger generation. But with the help of the police command, everything will change soon.
All right,
and then
thank you so much,
the road will
Inspector,
go
for coming.
fine.
Thank you so
much. It's a pleasure, man.
So moving on, we will now go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we will be joined by officials from MRC.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am QCell. I am Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Begin your SUV life. S-Pass Motors, the new authorized dealer for Kia. Visit us today or call us on 3522 222 353 2222.
Want it? Order for it and pay quickly using QuickPay on the QMoney platform. With great technology comes ease and convenience. Get a glimpse of what a comfortable life is with QMoney by dialing *323# now. Call 133 for more information. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe.
Back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. And moving on social issues today, we'll be taking a look at World Tuberculosis Day, which is observed on 24th March each year. And it's obviously designed to build that sort of awareness about the global epidemic of tuberculosis and efforts to eliminate it. And according to a report in 2018, we're aware that 10 million people had tuberculosis in that particular year. That seems huge, and to help us understand, break the statistics down and to further understand the preventions and all of that, we are joined by officials from the MRC. Dr. Abuke Silla is here, as well as Monica Davis. Monica Davis, thank you so much for joining us on the program. And Ibrahim, I think you were teasing me, considering that, considering my uncle is on this platform today. But that's a conversation for another day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes. So moving on, let's talk about tuberculosis at the Gambian context. The issues that we're dealing with as Gambians when it comes to treatment, prevention, and all of that. Because here they're talking about the elimination, but it seems we're not there yet. Because on a daily basis, you hear people still suffer from it. So how far have we gone as a country in the fight, Dr. Silla?
Good morning, viewers, and then thank you very much, Jenaba and then Ibrahima. And this World TB Day is very significant because it's a day set aside to commemorate when Dr. Robert Koch found a bacterium that causes tuberculosis. Right. And then that was in 1882. And then it's a day set aside to raise awareness about the devastating health, social, and economic consequences of tuberculosis. And then you mentioned about the Gambia. Gambia is a TB endemic country. TB endemic country in the sense that we have TB in the whole country. Yes. Although we have shown that TB is much more prevalent in the urban areas than the rural areas, because of the risk factors which are normally associated with the spread of tuberculosis. And then among those significant risk factors are the population. And then the higher you have, the higher number of people you have, the easier the transmission of tuberculosis. Right. Let's start with what normally causes tuberculosis is a bacterium. It's a bacterium which is a microorganism which is normally spread through when we cough or we sneeze onto people who are susceptible, and then they can now contract the disease. And when they contract the disease, they become infected at the beginning. And when they are infected, they will not show any signs of the disease. But the moment they become diseased, that is the time they will now show symptoms of the disease, which will include coughing, which will include high-grade fever, which will include weight loss, malaise, and then generally they are unable to do things which they are meant to do for themselves. And in that instance, they become sick with the disease. And when they become sick, what we normally do, we send them to institutions where they can recognize those symptoms and then subject them to what we call TB screening. And then TB screening will involve feeling questionnaires, but most importantly, to diagnose TB, you need to get specimens from them, which includes their sputum. Sometimes when it's a child, you get what we call gastric lavage, and then when you collect those sputum, then you can send them to the lab, and then they will look at it. They will now tell you, okay, this person is having tuberculosis. And when they have tuberculosis, what you now do is treatment. And in the treatment of tuberculosis, TB, I like to say to people that I would prefer to have tuberculosis than having hypertension.
Okay.
Yes.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because TB is curable. When you take your medication, for complete 6 months, you are cured of tuberculosis. But when you have hypertension, you will leave it to the rest of your life, and you will be taking medication.
So it takes 6 months to
cure tuberculosis.
And that means you have to be isolated or not?
No, you don't need to be isolated. That is the misconception we want the country to understand. The moment somebody is diagnosed with TB, you don't need to isolate them. All what you need to do, support them. And that support is to make sure that you are, if you are a family member, you serve as a treatment supporter. You accompany them to health centers where they are going to take their medication, and then you encourage them to take their medication. TB is not spread by sharing the same cups. If I'm having tuberculosis, I can drink from this bottle, you can equally drink from this bottle, it will not spread tuberculosis to you. We can share the same spoon, it will not spread tuberculosis. What can spread tuberculosis? When I coughed on you, or I sneezed on you, and then the air you breathe in is an aerosolized disease. It got into your nose, and then you have the disease, not through by sharing utensils. So what we should do as family members is to support them, take their medication. When somebody is diagnosed of TB and the person starts taking his or her medication, within 2 weeks, you can render that person non-infectious. That person will not be able to transmit the disease if they are taking their medication.
So I wanted to ask something. If you start taking your tuberculosis medicine, I mean, according to what I heard, I mean, you don't have to stop even a day. Is that the case?
We encourage people not to skip a day to adhere to medications. Simple reason being that the moment you start the medication, we want the medication to reach at a level in your system. That is the concentration in your system, which will be able to kill the germs. But when you start leaving the medication, what it encourages is resistant, which we want to avoid. And then multi-drug resistant tuberculosis will at least take you a minimum of up to a year for treatment, when you can now treat the disease for just 6 months. And then it is difficult to manage. The drugs has a lot of side effects. That is what we are trying to discourage by encouraging people not to skip a day when they are taking their medication.
Yeah, there's another misconception, Ibrahima. Another misconception, Sister Monica, is that tuberculosis is mainly affects individuals who have HIV/AIDS. Is that so? In Gambia here, when somebody has TB, people start suspecting, hey, Maki, I'm with AIDS, yeah. It's a thing. So I just want to understand the relationship between HIV and tuberculosis.
Okay, thank you, Geneva. It's actually true, because tuberculosis is a disease actually that affects people who are usually immunosuppressed. When I mean immunosuppressed, I mean that the immunity, they haven't got the immunity to be able to fight the disease. So let's take one of the comorbidity that we have is diabetes, for example. Hypertension is a risk factor, and then severe malnutrition. So, and HIV as well. So when you have all these comorbidities or also hepatitis. It's just similar to COVID. When COVID came in, they would tell you that if you have got diabetes, if you've got high blood and all those things, you should be very careful because the COVID becomes more virulent. So that's the same thing also that happens with tuberculosis. So when your immunity is suppressed, so any other type of illnesses that comes and stay because you haven't got the empowerment, your body hasn't got that immunity to be able to fight the diseases. And so you come down with tuberculosis. So tuberculosis comes in, as Dr. Taylor have just narrated, once the individual coughs out the aerosols and you inhale it, it gets into your system so quickly because your body defense mechanism is so weak that it's just all of a sudden you just get the tuberculosis.
Yeah, but it doesn't specifically mean that a person, because the concept is that tuberculosis, HIV more.
No, it's not only HIV. So diabetes could be a risk factor. High blood, hypertension could be a risk factor. Cancer, hepatitis, so many other illnesses. So anything that can suppress your immune status is what can lead you to tuberculosis.
But can it affect an individual whose immune system is not down?
Good. That's a very good question. Let me just help Monica over there. When you look at our TB incidence in this country, is that in every 100,000 people, we should have at least 157 people living with TB. Majority of those people don't have any underlying disease. They don't have HIV. And when we look at our TB, HIV co-infection in this country, it's just around 13, 14, 15%. Then the rest of the 80% of people who have tuberculosis, they don't have HIV. They don't have HIV. But TB is an endemic disease in this country, as I said. And when we look at TB infection, at least 1/3 of our population in this country are infected with tuberculosis. That is different from they are having tuberculosis disease. Even me, who is sitting in front of you, I'm infected with tuberculosis. That doesn't mean I have tuberculosis disease. I cannot transmit tuberculosis to anybody. You can only transmit when
he's a fuller, he might run.
Don't run. You might be infected. You don't know.
I mean, I am one aware.
What we are trying to do, we are trying to destigmatize tuberculosis. Because what normally kills people is the stigma attached to tuberculosis. People will stay at their homes with their symptoms. They will not go to the healthcare center where they are going to be diagnosed because they are going to be stigmatized. And that is what normally kills them. And then that is what contributes to the spread of the disease. And then that is what equally contributes what we refer to as catastrophic cost of tuberculosis, where at least you will spend 20% of your savings, your annual income, on tuberculosis care, which we want to prevent. So you can have TB infection, you are not having tuberculosis disease. And then when we are in TB endemic country, as I said, 1/3 will be infected. So, and then some of us will now go on develop the disease. As Monica mentioned, either because your body defense mechanisms are weak, either due to diabetes, or due to HIV, or due to malnutrition, due to cancer treatments, due to chronic kidney diseases.
Exactly. So before we go, can you take us through the 3 stages of tuberculosis? I mean, what are the stages?
Good. We have what we call tuberculosis infection. No, we have what we call tuberculosis exposure first. We have an infection, and we have the deceased. Let's start with the exposure. All of us in the Gambia will be assumed to be exposed to TB because we are living in communities. We enter in public transportation systems, and then we are in our compounds where people are coughing and then they are sneezing. They might be having tuberculosis. Or if you live with somebody who is diagnosed with TB or who is having tuberculosis disease, you are said to be exposed to tuberculosis. When you are exposed, the next thing is tuberculosis infection. Tuberculosis infection is that you have been exposed. The disease have entered in your system, but your body defense mechanism have controlled the disease in such a way that you are not demonstrating any symptoms of the disease. We only know that you are infected when we do some lab tests, what we call interferon gamma releasing assay, or we do small injection in your skin, which will now manifest and then tell us that this person is tuberculosis infected. The third one is tuberculosis deceased, are the ones, those who have symptoms of the deceased, including coughing, high-grade fever, weight loss, malaise. Those are the TB disease people. Those are the ones whom we treat for tuberculosis.
All right. So before we go, just quickly, Sister Monica, let's talk about how is it free to get treated when you have tuberculosis? People need to understand. You know, is it free when it comes to the treatment and all of that?
Okay. All over, TB treatment is free.
Okay.
There's no charges that is attached to it. So once you get tested and you've been diagnosed that you have tuberculosis, you just go and visit the nearest health center, and then you will be given a card, and then you will be your weight will be taken, and then based on the weight, you will be given the appropriate dose of the medications, and then you will take it. So on the instant when you you're diagnosed, you come on a daily basis, and then they want to actually observe the dots, the direct observation treatment, that you swallow the pill, and then you drink the water as it goes down, and then they are short, and then your card is now ticked to say that you have taken the drugs. So all over worldwide, it's not meant for you to...
On a final note, before you go, it's time already. Can we get the treatment all over the country? Do you have it in specific hospitals across the country?
Well, the treatment is available in all health facilities, most health facilities, all over Gambia, from here to Basse. It's all over available, even with the one that we give to children. So, and it's free, like we said before.
Yeah, so Dr. Silla, before you leave, I think time is up already, but do you think tuberculosis can be eliminated in a country like the Gambia? Is that possible in any way?
It is, but it's going to take a Herculean task to eliminate tuberculosis. Because when we look at this year's World TB Day, the theme is Invest to End TB, Save Lives. There are huge investment needed for tuberculosis care. And without that investment, we will not be able to eliminate TB.
Monetary investment.
Exactly, monetary investment. Because we have realized that annually, globally, we are spending about $6.5 billion US annually, which is just less than half of the money we needed for tuberculosis elimination. So we are aware of the target. And then most African countries, including the Gambia, we are solely wholly dependent on global fund support for tuberculosis care in the country. So we need our government's investments to the TB care services.
So meaning there should be political will.
There should be a political will to support tuberculosis services, which will go a long way in eliminating TB. But without that one, we are long way far of eliminating tuberculosis.
I think, we have a lot to ask Jenna.
Yeah, but due to time
I wanted to ask how did the COVID affect the treatment?
Yeah, but time,
due to time,
I'm afraid we can't say anything.
You know?
By the way, another guru.
I'm coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Silla, as well as Mr. Monica.
I know my niece is not a cheap one. So for a fella, certainly, if you want to marry my niece, certainly you have to bring a lot of cows.
No, I will. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. No problem.
We will now go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll head right onto the clip segment. Thanks for watching.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with, and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable, fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, trusted network in the Gambia.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It's integral to our survival, to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly. QCell Q-Power.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office.
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Cinemas.
We innovate, others
their parliamentarians. QTV is the platform to answer these and many more questions. From March 21st, QTV will bring you live daily debates with candidates across the country. To get an insight into your candidates program, tune in at 9 p.m. on QTV.
Welcome back from that break. You're watching QTV this morning. We're already having fun in the studio before even coming on air to talk about entertainment.
Oh yes.
Feeling it.
Yes.
So I'm done. I'm so ready.
It's about to go. It's not going up to it. It's about to go down.
We have already gone down.
For real, man. Yeah. My guest in the studio is my brother. I'm saying hi to you. Jeff, welcome to the show, bro.
Yes, one Gambia. Then Domlin, Jakakala, then Jarbata, Soldier Pop, aka Mr. Philip Kessel. Yes, one show.
Yeah. So, Mr. Philip, when did you start doing music? Tell me about music.
Okay. That means Yaga because of like the 2008.
Lan mo la do as music actually. What was the feeling that make you do music?
Okay, like man what the guy yala come ina yala mo ko def man like man so ko gisee may toog rek su ma la rombee rek yow su nekkee ne xam nga nit rek nga xam ne nekkul loo xam ne man maa ko def moo ko comme like dafa nekk loo xam ne comme yàlla moo ko def nekkoon naa taalibe nag waaw nekk xale seetaan koto yi ok like di topp soo yikal time boobu maa ngi nekk lu soo bàyyi xel like am na seen benn vidéo bu gaay defoon vidéo bi time maa ngi nekk lu maa ngi woon vidéo bi yeah like foofu la affaire yi dooree
nice I can tell man léegi yow sa music bi and other music dafa xala ute it's not like not the same sort of because your music when you listen to it it's more like Afro Mbala sort of and it's really making waves in the Gambian music industry and I want to say thumbs up for that. You're over Sally gave it over nice, your videos are good, the visuals are really good and you're over the internet with your music and you're taking it serious. Yeah, so let's talk about the music video you dropped on Monday morning. The video being is just extraordinary man. After some bit I mean it's really nice. Man, what was the rap with Monday morning? How did you guys come together and work on the song?
Oh, Mori is my home. Mori is my wild. Come like definitely body man at home. Okay. But that they know them. Like when I come this time, I'm gonna put them there.
Yeah.
Because like right now from there in Gambia, munala when they come, nila hamon. They want to show. Like da nga gis ñu ko xamoon bëri ñu ngi si so da nga gis ne comme génération bu nekk ni comme dafa war a def dara ko su nekkul da nga dem Europe yàlla daf ñu jàppale like ñu suñ génération ñi nga xam ne ñoo fi nekk like man Modou Trouble Small ST like Royal Messenger and ñeneen ñi nga xam ne mënu mën a leen yàlla la fi wërsëgal ñu am yoonu waaw yàlla may nañu ko soo bàyyi xel back in the days yombu toon noonu waaye léegi ñun suñu génération yàlla may ñu ngi ñëw like lu ma dee wax gaay rek comme waaw Europe neex na métti na comme soo ko toogee rek gaamee dina xamati exactly one moom soo toogee defuloo dara rek gaamee dañ la dee faati exactly moo tax yaa ngi gis comme yaa ngi gis artiste yu bëri suñu mel ni comme mérité wante comme fekkatu loolu comme musique si yow la di nekk Mori xam naa lu mu installa comme like man soo mënu teewee du ma bëgg a yow track non for real
yeah you know what
waaw dama la wax lu nga xam ne comme musique kenn du ko di ci because ñu direct in Gambia ñu defee musique bu bon rek dañ ko xas
so we're going going for a quick break. Let's watch this music video by Mr. Feeling featuring Mandy Moore. Trust me, man. This song is nice and extra fire. Let's watch it, and when we come back, we'll continue. That's the music video by Mr. Feeling featuring Mandy Moore, man. Trust it. The song is nice, the video is out. Go check it out on YouTube and you're gonna like it, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. But first of all, Mr. Feeling, yo, what is the future in the Gambian music industry? Malab next from now to next year.
Like in future we put in a Bollywood. What the yala come. When do we la halu body come music of Mandela. Although they get soldier for the platform,
exactly. Come, I need to tell you about at one plan. I don't know why.
The motivation because so much interview, so much invited to my show. I know. I must stop them. And Gambian musician, you plan your team, you plan the one, you plan the Falteranga.
Yeah.
But I'm not able to my hair. I'm the one you know. Yeah. And don't be the motivation like Digma invite show. What are you to show? I'm going to show boy. About change. Tamala was the come to the hand come man music la def. On the morning you stage, it dangal.
Yeah.
The man you diplomat. More like so Satan is more play on stage. At boy
How about your music side? The follow Ute with other people their music as well.
Bro, I'm very local.
Yeah. Some music been more of a unique to me. That's what it's like. You're more of a cultural artist sort of. And Bobo is what we need, people like you in the industry as well.
Man, munuma copy.
Yeah.
Bilahi wala munuma copy.
I can tell.
Copy no.
And you know, Bobo, the thing is, they cannot copy him too.
Exactly.
He have his own style. So own
Mother he's unique.
No.
Mother he's way too unique. Let's talk about your project. The project you're working on actually. I know you're about to release a project. I don't know when is it dropping, but let's talk about the project actually.
All right, Mang's video album right now.
Yeah.
Like 7 tracks. Like album banging to the Lui Guy Di Wah.
Bro, it's a cover song.
Momla today album, you know, Lui Guy Di Wah, you know.
Yeah.
Very soon, rek. You want Gambia and then parent. Because you soon kid did ligay. Like Lode gis nyep suma kir la ko de defé. Video bi suma kir la.
Nice.
Du ma dee génne si biti. Nah, dama dee décorer suma kër def lu ma def pare naa si.
Nice.
Lii suma kër la nii.
So léegi, how many tracks are in the album?
Mu ngi war a nekk 7 tracks.
Any future collabos?
Waaw, am na some yu si nekk rek. Waaw, just some.
Give us a hint, man. Don't you hint, at least.
Rek, you know.
Don't you hint.
No, yooyu dañ koo pana.
Like when I need them, I have a beat. We know we're about to have fun now. Now we are in the session wherein we're going to have fun. So DJ Mariam, let me have my beat. I want my guy here to give us something for the morning show. Mariam, give me my beat, man. Let's have fun. Yeah.
Let me hear the beat. Yéen ñaar laa war a woyal yéen ñaar.
Exactly.
No, Mr. Feeling, ñun suñ sey bi yaa ko woy. Waaw.
Baax na. Amul problème. Yow. Gis ngeen góor yi.
Feeling boy gis ngeen góor yi bu leen faale gaay taluñ kenn nobuñ kenn buñ la woowee kër ga feccal ma bañ feccal ma bañ ma jot sa nomba feccal ma bañ feccal ma bañ ay gaal seet si ma feccal ma bañ feccal ma bañ mooy du ko xanju ma la mooy du ko yorul nada riyal xanju ma la feccal ma bañ feccal ma bañ ay baby dofo yow dofo waaye sa jikko ju rafet yow moo lay yóbbu sofo sofo ay baby dofo lu gaay di wax taluma ko lu gaay di coow taluma ko lu gaay di wax taluma ko
Hey, man, trust it, man. We're having fun in the studio, man. Trust it. It's about to go down. Like some fans out there. We call it a day, man.
Come like this, you know. Li moy thing bi, you know, because dañu war di make fun ñu neen suñ biir, xam nga. Come like this the music. Di wax Gambie na leen ne Mr Feeling léegi tey rek, you know, ñu dem ci seen kër bu mag bi fële def fa lu garaaw a garaaw, you know.
Kër bu mag bi mooy ban stade stadium.
No, boy, stadium ground la rek.
Q City.
Wow.
Q City.
Q City. Q City.
It's the place to be. Bu ragal foofu.
Bu ma fa ragal. Waaw
exactly. No,
man. Léegi dégg naa ne suñ show dañ nekk di ko cancel right now.
Okay.
For my end, I'm saying bye-bye to the coming week tomorrow. But don't forget to visit Big Sam and Sisters. You're going to get something like this as well. So, back to you, Jenny Bambal.
Right,
it was a pleasure having you in the studio.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm a big fan. Very, very big fan.
Yes,
Mr. Feeling.
Parallel, Mr. Feeling mu ngi waajal. ñu dem feesal Q City.
Bem fees step naturu. Till we come your way tomorrow with another interesting program. Bye bye.
Waxal gaay ne leen guddi feeling la, you know.
dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wérugu yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndex mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wér gu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gat granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sell te óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wér gu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu nekk ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD PO1 membrane bi amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dund ni doomu